Well, we're here because poverty is a big issue among people with disabilities. And today is the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. And so we wanted to participate in that, being people who live in poverty most of the time, and bring to awareness the issues around disability and poverty. Um, a lot of people think that people with disabilities are taken care of, and we wanted to make sure that the general public know that that's generally not true. When we're on income assistance, we're underfunded. We don't have housing available to us. We have to pay more than our income for rent a lot of times, and many of us end up homeless and on the street or next to homeless. There's quite a large population of people with disabilities who couch surf. And so, if those couches weren't there, they'd be on the street. But because of their disability, they're trying to avoid, living on the street, which is a very hard life. We have to have our finances lined up, our home care lined up, our transportation, our housing, and all of that set up before we can even think about getting a job or taking education to improve our situation. So, when you have to have all those things in place and we rely on society to make sure the funding is there for those things, there's a real link, and there can therefore be a real shortfall. And we want people to get excited. We want people to get um, passionate about the fact that those of us who are vulnerable are actually not looked after and need to be better provided for. And we need people to be passionate with our government and say, look, this is not okay. The government is saying things like their third great principle is that our lives are supposed to be improving and that we're supposed to get the help we need to be living independently and working. Well, it's not happening. And now they're making more cuts that are affecting our lives. So, how is this keeping their goals? We want people to get on board and say, hey, you guys, it's not what we asked you to do, it's not what we voted for. Because the vote counts.
Can you talk a little bit about the cuts that have happened recently that are affecting people?
Well, I mean, there's so many to remember, but the recent ones, there was big cuts to the autism program. That's huge. There's so much information out there that says if you start early with people with autism, they're going to be contributing, working, earning money, financially contributing to society. I contribute to society, but I don't have a paid job. I'm a volunteer myself. So I don't want anybody to think that just because we're not working for money, we're not contributing, because we are. And that's one of the things that a lot of people think is that if you if you earn money, then you contribute. That's not true. Other cuts that have happened, well, there's things like healthcare that there's been huge cuts to. Um, Home care, that's always going on, and there's rumblings about all this stuff happening as well. So we're never really sure just exactly where things are being cut. Supports in and school apparently are being drawn back as well. So it all has a price to pay. We're gonna pay. Now we're gonna save money, but in the end we're gonna pay way more. And it's a crying shame.
Can you tell me a little bit about the organization here and what you guys do day to day?
We've been here for over 30 years, and we provide advocacy for people with disabilities. Advocacy takes many forms. We do information and education, such as talking with you and any other people who would like to listen about what our lives are like, what it entails to live with a disability, what we need, and what we can do. And so we advocate for people in that general way. We also provide assistance for people through the red tape of getting services that they could be entitled to. For instance, a lot of people come here who are people with disabilities and are applying for that income assistance, which gives them a little bit better foothold, but still not adequate money. So we help them with the process. It's a 23-page form that hasn't changed, requires a lot of scholastic know-how, and we can provide that. We can also help with appeals. We help with getting people get their medical help that they need. If they need home care, we try and advocate on that also. We're really involved with housing, which is an extremely severe situation. A lot of things, attention's gone to housing in terms of family housing or hard to house people. Well, what about those of us with disabilities who don't have a family, who are single, but we have an affordability issue? And I want to bring that up because it's not about only about access for people in wheelchairs. It's the affordability issue. About half the people with disabilities don't really require the accessibility features. So there's some effort made to provide accessible, affordable housing, but hardly any effort made to provide affordable housing. And cuts made to that program, by the way. So it's just all the way across the board, and it's not good enough.